So when someone like say star signs or astrology and things like that, and what's another example? Like, yeah, my intuition's telling me this. Like, I don't mind someone having intuition or believing in random things, whatever. But when someone tries to subject me to those non-factual beliefs, it really bothers me sometimes. So when you're saying that, the first thing that came to mind is like, there's a spiritual community. There's spiritual communities all around the world, right? There's one in Sydney, and this crowd for me, like, rather than being like, hey, like you said this, and it made me feel like, again, I'll pull this up now actually because it's coming back to that. It's interesting how conversations come full circle, but
Mm-hmm.
so rather than like sharing their facts of like, hey, you looked at me, or like, that's not a fact. Well, you said this to me and it really hurt my feelings, right? Hurt my feelings. What's your story? And encouraging testing. So rather than doing that, my experience with these wiggly types, that they're people that with the wiggly personality is they will feel something like, yeah, I'm feeling an off energy from you, man. I'm feeling this from you, man. And it's like they'll make that reality when it's not factual. And I've had that happen to me so many times. Like I had one guy at one point, I didn't think he's mentally well, but I was at this like this event, this quote unquote spiritual event in Sydney about 6 months ago, and he came up to me and he's like, I know what the accusation was, I forget now, but like I went to go hug him, like because as far as I knew, we're fine. I went to go hug him, and then he's like, no, don't touch me. Because I know what you're doing. I know what this is going on. Like you're doing this and this and this. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, what? And like, for me, it was so far in my reality. And I'm sitting there trying to have a conversation. I'm like, so what? He goes, I can feel your energy, man. Your energy's off. And I'm like, are you sure that's not you feeling your own energy and then project that onto me? And he's like, no, your energy's off. Your energy's off. Da, da, da. I'm like, okay, can you tell me what I've factually like done? Like, he goes, no, it's off. Like, I'm like, honestly, and he's ucking up at me, like going off at me. And I'm like, honestly, like this conversation isn't going anywhere if you can't get to the actual situation of what's going on and express to me the specifics, because right now you're just feeling. And that's fine, but I'm not going to sit here and have this conversation with you around this. So I don't know where I was going with that. But long story short, like that's been experienced for me in the spiritual space. And that's why I really dislike that feeling of like, I'm going to force my reality onto you, this wiggly reality that isn't objectively real. It's like you want me to hold that for you, and it just feels off sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting experience. Like how do you respond to that? Yeah, because you can't even it's like you're speaking different languages almost. Like you can't really have a conversation then. And if you can't, if they're imbuing you with certain things and then they're not able to explain it, and you're like, what? It's kind of a conversation killer because you can't even establish a reality that you both agree upon. So
even if they said like, hey, like, you know what, I'm really emotional right now, and what I'm going to say is like all over the place. There needs to be yin and yang of
that would be good.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm messed up right now, but I'm just going to express how I feel. Is that okay with you? Yeah, go for it. Cool. I could have just sat there and listened to it, right? But I think that's the yin and the yang, right? It's like you need to have, because we all have emotions, right? And people, I think, who, I'll just speak for myself here, like are very heady based. It's very easy to just turn your emotions off. It's almost like you have this skill of like, just turn off, because you just go straight into your head. So that situation, I just turned off. I'm like, cool. So then I became more heady, just like boom, boom, boom. Whereas if I wanted to be like a real swinging human being, so to speak, I might play the dualistic approach, which is like, I'm going to become really emotional as well. Like, oh, how dare you? Da, 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 like, and just escalate the situation to the point of like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a chess match of, and it's so funny that I say chess match because it's a very heady thing to say. There's a dance, right? There's a dance of energy that needs to happen. And it's like, sometimes when you're so heady, you tend to attract those wiggly types who almost like they're a shadow, like they want to dance with you and like, blah, blah, blah. Then you're like, no, da, da, da. They're like, blah, 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 blah. It's like this weird kind of gunfire showdown or something. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really resonate with this.
Please tell us what's your experience has been.
Oh yeah, go.
Literally, this Jarrett guy, like he opened up this dang box because I met him and he would just throw stuff at me like that didn't make that much sense, but he could feel like he could feel whatever he was saying, even though he couldn't have any evidence. I don't know. Just the other day, he was like, I don't even resonate with your stuff anymore, Harley. It's like you're not even real anymore. And I was like, he's like, is someone else doing your content? And I was like, actually, yes. He's like, oh, I can tell because it's just not you. Or, he could feel
Can I
that.
just add
And I was
something to
like,
that quickly?
interesting. Yeah.
This is my crux of the issue for me. Just quickly, I'll let you carry on. Is that when they like, let's say I am different, and okay, so I am different. I do have someone editing my content. It is different. The graphics that pop up on the screen are different. And
Oh no.
so what's your point? It's like, it's almost like if something is different and it's not who they think, it's like this weird indirect way of saying you're not who I think you should be, and it's making me uncomfortable. The uncertainty of who I think you actually are is making me uncomfortable. Please go back to that previous version. And then there's all a bucket of emotions. Like, is it envy? Is it, I've had that heaps before where someone's like, you have dark humor coming from a dark place. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay, fair enough. 2 months later, I was actually envious. So there's a whole kettle of fish there as well. But please carry on.
Either way, kettle of fish. That's a new one, but yeah,
I like it.
yeah,
Australian.
that's good. Yeah, that's good. Either way,
Should get some water. I'm listening though.
No, yeah. I met this Jarrett guy, and then I just went through his entire Instagram and found all these like 6, 7, maybe 12 other people I interviewed, and they all reminded me of a similar, like, I'm speaking from the heart. It's my truth at the moment. You can disprove it with science, but it's how I'm feeling right now. So it is true, technically speaking, in my own soul, or that kind of like vibe.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking like, interesting. I could see how some of it can resonate with me, but like, I like to have some reality or some factual evidence, or I don't know. Either way, if I wouldn't have ever opened that box, I feel like I wouldn't have even realized that there was a people out there that are more soul oriented. Because of it, now I'm more like, I don't know, slightly open-minded and maybe slightly more, I don't know, maybe they've rubbed off on me slightly, but either way, I used to be like insanely critical, like hearing someone like, what are you talking about? But like sometimes I'm just like, well, I don't even know if it's worth questioning because I don't even know if they have a full answer behind it. They're just kind of feeling it and saying it, or I don't know. But it's hard to tell with some people. Like some people, like you can dive into the exact reasons on why they're saying what they're saying. And it's like very rigid and structured, and other people very wiggly using your language. It's interesting, the differences in people.
And it's also like a case of coming back full circle with the Alex Hormozi and Chris Williamson podcast. In that one, like they're saying, pointing to this direction, like that's what it is. It's almost like, if I'm that person, I'm very like rigidy in a way. I need to surround myself with those kind of people to A, understand them, and B, there's something there, right? There's always something that we're missing. And like there is something there that someone who is very logical needs. Like let's throw like a physicist or like a, like a mathematician, full-time mathematician in that field. They're gonna be like, oh, what? Maybe, who knows? But they need that because it balances you out, right?
Yeah, it's true.